Well, you can check Wichita, Kansas off the list of UFC destinations. John Anik, Paul Felder here, Octagon side, after a monumental victory for the former UFC heavyweight Junior Dos Santos here tonight. We haven't seen Derrick Lewis on the wrong end of a knockout like that in some time. Another huge feather in the cap of the former champ, JDS.
Yeah, it just shows how powerful he still is in the heavyweight division, because, yeah, we've seen Lewis take some losses, but, you know, it's usually him just kind of being over on the side or getting hurt to the body or his back is bothering him or something. But this was, we saw Derrick Lewis, you know, on chicken legs, skating around in there. That just shows the power in that right hand that Junior Dos Santos has. For him to be able to go in there and take somebody that just fought for the title out like that, even better, more decisively in a lot of ways than Cormier was able to do. So I don't want to say that too much. I don't want him coming after me. You both did great. But I think that puts him in line for a title shot, in my opinion, or at least next in line.
Right, so the seminal moment in this fight was in round one. The spinning kick right to the midsection landed by Junior Dos Santos. And even though it was head strikes that ultimately felled Derrick Lewis in round two, that was the beginning of the end.
It was that body shot, because that, when you get hit to the body and you start worrying about that, where do your hands go naturally? Whenever you flinch, you're going to cover your body. And that opens up all those head strikes for Dos Santos, that overhand, that straight right. So that body shot's what set up the beginning of the end, in my opinion.
I know for Junior Dos Santos, he was hoping to get a shot at Daniel Cormier before the heavyweight champion retired. We know Brock Lesnar is lurking, but JDS and DC, two of the most accomplished heavyweights in UFC history, they have never locked that door behind them. I wouldn't mind seeing it.
I think it makes sense. I think it's a fight that could sell, and you can really hype it up. You got this boxing, and JDS is well-rounded. He's good everywhere. He might be he's going to be a lot harder to take down and control than, say, you know, Derrick Lewis was in that fight. We know what Derrick Lewis brings to the table. It's powerful shots, but he's not exactly a wrestler. Whereas JDS, you know, he's been training a lot longer. He's been in this game a lot longer. He's got more experience and fought better wrestlers, not than Cormier, but he's fought, you know, more caliber of that guys in his career. So I love that matchup.
All right, congratulations to Bento's father, Junior Dos Santos. Co-main event tonight. It's easy to get lost in the shuffle in the welterweight division, but I think this would be a coming out party of sorts for Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos. Came in number 14 in the world and made quick work of a guy in Curtis Millender who came in having won his last 9.
Yeah, you know, Curtis Millender came in here, he had a lot of hype, undefeated in the UFC, coming in, looking great in all his outings. Deserved this spot that he had in the co-main event tonight. But Zaleski dos Santos went in there and just used his well-rounded game. He showed that he's not just a capoeira fighter. He's not just a kickboxer. He doesn't have to brawl and make it a fight of the night. If he wants to go in there against somebody that has inferior grappling, he can go in, get that takedown, and finish him. That's exactly what he did tonight, and he looked great doing it.
There are so many high-level welterweights that are in action in this month of March that maybe the calendar will work out for the Brazilian Elizeu Zaleski dos Santos in terms of getting the big fight that he so craves. He feels like he should be 8-0 in the UFC. He's won 7 in a row. I don't know if you have a name on the tip of your tongue, but you got to think at the very least he has earned a right to challenge somebody in that top 10.
I really think he should go rest up, see his family, whatever he's going to do, and sit his butt in front of the TV and watch next week, because there's some fights on that card that he want to watch very closely to see if he can get possibly the winner, possibly the loser, but whoever's got numbers next to their name that are higher ranked than Dos Santos, that's who he wants to go after. He's got to be strategic about it, and he needs to go out there and be aggressive. He had a chance tonight, and he kind of missed it. He could have had a name, or his coaches could have had a name, so when it was all said and done, they called him out. And he missed it just because he's classy and he's being respectful. But he possibly could have got himself a fight lined up tonight if he had somebody on the tip of his tongue and said it on the microphone with you tonight.
All right, well, we will get to next week's welterweight main event between Darren Till and Jorge Masvidal in a minute. But I want to talk about you for a second, because Paul Felder was in a Phoenix hospital not all that long ago due to a collapsed lung. We're calling you the Iron Lung now. But before you went to the hospital, it was a domination of James Vick. You're the number 10 ranked lightweight in the world. I know you're on the men right now, but how soon would you like to spin this thing around now that you got that beautiful number 10 next to your name?
It's a nice number. I like that number. It fits me for a little while, not for long though. I'd like to get back at the very end of the summer or early fall, depending on what the schedule is going to play out. You know, obviously I'm going to be in Philadelphia for Gaethje and Barboza. Be watching that one super close, because obviously I want the winner or the loser. Doesn't matter. Those guys, just like Zaleski dos Santos had an opportunity. I made sure I took that opportunity. Those guys are just above me in the rankings, and that's who I'm going after. If Al Iaquinta wants to bump down and fight the number 10 guy, because he does owe me a fight.
He does,
first of all. So Al, if nobody else wants to fight you, Philly versus New York, we can make it happen.
Oh, I don't know where I'd be rooting as a Boston guy. Philly versus New York. We don't root for New York very often.
Neutral.
We don't like either of you.
Stay neutral, yeah.
So there is a huge welterweight main event forthcoming as the UFC continues this stretch of 9 consecutive live events in as many weeks. Jorge Masvidal has been out for a little while, and he returns against one of the best fighters, at least rankings-wise, in the world, Darren Till, coming off the title loss to Tyron Woodley. Your thoughts on the main event on ESPN Plus, March 16th?
I love that fight. I love that fight. You got two guys that love to stand up, but can mix it up where they want to. But Jorge Masvidal is one of those guys. I know he's been out for a while, but he's so relaxed, he's so calm, and his boxing is so sharp. He counters so well. So if Darren Till overcommits with that left hand, you better believe Masvidal is going to be there to counter, and he's going to mix in his wrestling. I guarantee you. Mark my words that Masvidal will not just box with him. He's going to be a full, well-rounded martial artist next week in London.
And despite the fact that Jorge Masvidal has been off filming reality shows, hasn't fought since 2017, 46th pro fight for the man they call Gamebred. All right, after that, it is March 23rd, Nashville, Tennessee. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, two-time UFC welterweight title challenger, taking on your teammate, the former UFC lightweight champion, Anthony Showtime Pettis. His last fight at welterweight, 2008, right before he signed with the WEC. Pettis asked for this fight, ask and you shall receive.
Yeah, I mean, listen, this fight makes sense. Both these guys were looking for a fight. They couldn't really find the matchup that they wanted in their division. Obviously, Wonderboy's still staying at welterweight, but he's fighting a guy coming up from lightweight. It's not going to really mess up his rankings. Anthony's not going to really lose his spot at lightweight. Both these guys want to compete against each other. They're both very good martial artists, traditional martial artists. They have that karate, taekwondo background. It's a fight that fans are going to love. I mean, these guys are going to stand, and they're going to kickbox. I think it's going to be a 5-round kickboxing fight. I think Anthony's got more of the Muay Thai style, which is going to be to his advantage in this fight. He's got to figure out that puzzle that is Wonderboy, man. And a lot of people haven't been able to figure it out. Tyron was able to figure it out, but barely. It was close fights. But Anthony's learned a lot from that, from having a teammate and having coaches like Duke who have been in there and tried to figure that riddle out. So it'll be, it's going to be such a good main event.
And that is your main event, of course, in Nashville, March 23rd. You can see it on ESPN Plus. Wichita, Kansas certainly gave us a lot to chew on, but as the greatest coach in professional sports history, Bill Belichick, would say, it's on to London, March 16th.